I'm not sure I would call the Republican Party terrorist, but they proclaim their belief in power devolving to the lowest levels of government, right? If the federal government shouldn't do it, the states should. If the states shouldn't do it, the counties should. If the counties shouldn't do it, the towns should. If the towns can't do it or shouldn't do it, then individual neighborhoods, like local school boards and things, decisions should be made at a local level. This is the Republican mantra over and over and over again, when the consequence of that mantra is that schools in poor communities get bad funding, people in poor communities get fewer services. You understand, right? So they've been given lip service to the states' rights, or to the right of communities for a long time. Well, here's just two amazing stories. The first is Arizona. This is from Bloomberg Businessweek by Josh Idelson. This was published last week, March 15th. The headline is, Arizona has a plan to get revenge on its pro-worker cities. And it tells the story of Lauren Kuby, who is a city council member in Tempe, Arizona. And she looked at what happened in Tacoma, Washington, and Elizabeth, New Jersey, where the towns required employers to provide paid sick leave, particularly for people working in food services, but all right across the board. Because it's just stupid, that you go to a restaurant and your food is being served by somebody who's sick. It's being made by somebody who's sick. You go to a store and the bag that is handed to you is being handled by somebody who's sick. I mean, this is from a purely selfish point of view, not to mention the just, rational, we are all humans here point of view, that if somebody's sick, they shouldn't be forced to work. They should get paid time off. So she proposed this in Tempe, Arizona. And by September, she had enough support to actually formally get into this issue in Tempe, Arizona. She says, I took seriously Obama's call to take local action. I saw cities as the place to make a difference. So what happened? The Arizona's Republican state-controlled state legislature was considering punishing cities that tried to set their own codes for workers' benefit. Arizona's House passed a bill in March 1st specifying that cities aren't allowed to require private employers to provide paid sick leave or vacation. The state Senate has passed companion legislation that would cut state funds used to pay for services like police and firefighting to cities that try to supersede state laws. In other words, not only can't you do it, but if you try, we're going to punish you. The same thing happened yesterday in North Carolina. In the dark of the evening, in the late of the evening, North Carolina State, in an unprecedented move, a shocking unprecedented move, the North Carolina State Legislature convened a special session late last night to introduce and pass sweeping anti-LGBT bill, HB 2, which overturns local ordinances that protect gay and transgender rights. Governor Pat McCrory, the Republican, signed the bill into law later last night. I'll get into the details on this after the break, but this is god-awful.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And these bills, this is kind of ALEC model legislation in some cases, these bills to make it impossible for local communities to govern themselves. Okay, so I got to tell you what the North Carolina legislature did last night. This is incredible, because there are towns in North Carolina that had passed local legislation saying that it was in our town, you can't discriminate against people based on their gender or on their sexual gender identification, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You can't, sexual orientation, the phrase I was looking for. So here is this is incredible. This is Sarah Preston, the acting director of the ACLU of North Carolina. She said, rather than expand non-discrimination laws to protect all North Carolinians, the General Assembly instead spent $42,000 to rush through an extreme bill that undoes all local non-discrimination laws and specifically excludes gay and transgender people from legal protections. This is what happened in North Carolina last night. This is what happens when Republicans control states. And they did it in the dark of night. And, and by dark, I mean, there was no TV cameras, no reporters. There's just, everybody had gone home. Oh, yeah, well, let's start a new session after the sun's gone down. All school and public bathrooms. Here's a summary of it from Zach Ford. A summary of the bill. All schools and public bathrooms must discriminate against transgender people. Discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity must be legal across the state, and no local law can say otherwise. And even if the state's Human Relations Commission finds that an individual was the victim of discrimination, that victim cannot then sue the employer or business that discriminated. Isn't that breathtaking? The Washington Post said, quote, state lawmakers pushed the measure in response to a non-discrimination ordinance adopted by the city of Charlotte that, among other things, allowed people to use the bathroom that matched their gender identity. So this was, particularly focused on trashing transgender people, but it also goes after basically all LGBT people. This is the Republican agenda. It's mind-boggling.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.